Hey, what's happening, buddy? This is Hayden Adams with A Designer Who Codes. I was busy working on this file for a future video I'm putting out, responsive images with HTML, CSS, and I wanted to showcase how I export this image out of Photoshop. Now, it's a Photoshop file with a lot of files. If I were to go up to File, Save As, and up here, and I change the format from Photoshop to JPEG, not IFF, but JPEG, what I get is this warning message because I have layers in this file. So it says file must be saved with a copy of the selection. And what it'll do is it'll essentially save the file, but it gives me this warning message. And then I also get, let me just say to a different location, the desktop. And then what I get is this JPEG option from quality 8 to 12. You go from 1 to 12 and baseline options. And while this does work, there's a better, or what I call right way, to export your files out of Photoshop for JPEGs. What I would do is that I would go up to File, Export, and say Export As. Now, this is one of the worst shortcuts known to man. I used to joke that the Save for Web Legacy, which is Command Option Shift S in the Macintosh, was bad, but then they used the W key, which is even higher on the keyboard. So this became Command Option Shift W for Export As. However poor of a shortcut key Adobe decided to choose for it, what you get is a rad export screen. And here's why I love this. It's because now I can change the size of my file only in the JPEG, but not having to touch my Photoshop file. So while I make really big default PSD files for YouTube, I ultimately want to bring this one down to about 2000. And when I hit tab, it automatically scales it proportionally on the width and the height. Pretty awesome. What I can also do is also add metadata to my copyright and content if I want to, and convert the color space. If I had an RGB or an Adobe RGB 1998, I can then convert it to sRGB, and I can also embed the color profile in as well. That's really rad. And it also tells me the file size. Every so often, you'll have tools that say you must have this picture no bigger than 1 megabyte or 2 megabytes. So I know that maybe I have to make this 3000 pixels, but if I'm gonna get this down below, oh, and that just error occurred. Let me do it again. Let's do export as, maybe I broke Photoshop. Export as 3200, now we're good to go. Not quite sure where the error message came from. Anyways, 1.4 megabytes is the size of this picture. But if I want to get this down to below 1 megabyte, let's say they're asking for a max size of 1, well, I can change my quality. If I hit shift down arrow, I can drop by 10%, and now I'm at 1%. 80% should get me there, but I can also go up to 85 by hitting the up or down arrows, and now I hit 970, and so I found 85% to be a successful file size at 3200. And I can go JPEG, export out, and now I can save this without having to touch my Photoshop file completely. So it's already intact, but I can resave, size, export, and that is the best way, or I call it the right way, to export JPEGs out of Photoshop.